Welcome to week 6. For this week, you should read chapter 15 in your textbook on sampling. The first 9 slides in this week's PowerPoint reviews level of measurement, such as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. The next 6 slides discuss measurement error, which occurs when data do not accurately portray the concept that is being measured. There are 2 types of measurement error, systematic and random. Systematic occurs when the information collected reflects a false picture of the concept to be measured. In other words, while the error is reliable, because it makes the same mistake every single time, it is not accurate. For example, we may administer a self-esteem scale, but maybe the scale is actually capturing self-efficacy. Random error occurs when there is no consistent pattern of effects, so the results may inconsistently be accurate. Over time, random errors can be reduced over a large number of observations. Some researchers consider this to be a much less problematic type of measurement error. Moving on to sampling. Before we begin, I want to be clear on the differences between 2 concepts, a sample and sampling. A sample is a subset of a population that you are interested in studying. Sampling is how you go about choosing your sample. Sampling strategies are an essential part of critically appraising research studies. You must make sure that your sampling strategy chooses participants who are representative of the group you want to generalize to. This is important, particularly when using quantitative methods. When you engage in sampling techniques, you specify parameters or characteristics among the group. Doing this reduces sample bias, so you're not cherry picking who receives a treatment if you're doing an experimental study. Whenever you sample, you must ask yourself the following 3 sampling questions. Who do you want to understand? How many respondents do you need to answer your question? And what is feasible? There are 2 main types of sampling: random, also known as probability sampling, and non-random, also known as non-probability sampling. Random sampling is used to ensure that the sample you select adequately reflects variations in the population. Further, in random selection, each participant has an equal chance of selection that is independent of any other event in the selection process. As your textbook states, flipping a coin is the most frequently cited example. The selection of heads or tails is independent of previous selections of heads or tails. So no matter how many heads turn up in a row, the chance that the next flip will produce heads is still exactly 50-50. Cluster sampling, simple random sampling, stratified sampling, and systematic sampling strategies are examples of types of probability sampling. Read about how they differ in pages 366 to 373. Non-random sampling is when your parents do not have an equal chance of being selected. This type of strategy is employed generally when the population that you're interested in is hard to find, hard to reach, is small in size, or when random sampling is just not feasible. Convenience sampling, purposive sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling are examples of non-random sampling strategies. Read pages 352 to 356 for more information. Moving on, I can't stress enough how important slide 38 is. You should consider asking yourself these questions every time you read a research article, and certainly I will expect that you use these steps when you critically appraise articles for your final assignments in this course. There are 2 assignments due by midnight Thursday, October 11th. The first assignment is a knowledge check, just to make sure everyone is comprehending the material that we have already covered. This is the brief critique of the Tobin et al. 2009 article. The second assignment is your usual discussion board post. For this post, you'll find 2 research articles in the journal Health and Social Work, one that uses probability sampling and the other one that used non-probability sampling. After finding your article, critique the sampling procedures used in each. These critiques can either be positive or negative. A sufficient post is between 300 to 500 words. In order to access this journal, follow the following steps. 1. Visit www.hshsl.com www.umaryland.edu. 2. On the home page, left sidebar, under Popular Links, click on Journals and eBooks. 3. Enter Health and Social Work. 4. Click on the number 1 search result, Health and Social Work. 5. On the left sidebar, click on View Journal in Browsing. 6. Explore various articles. You can click through and read different years, volumes, and issues. So remember, next week is a catch-up or an independent study week. It is also a time where we can just schedule an office hour via Zoom video chat to get any questions answered or just to meet. See you next week.